What's going on, YouTube? We are back with another video for the Point After podcast. This is interview number 7. Uh, First interview I'm doing with my co-host Matthew. How's it going, man?
You took my line from I was going to say 7 interviews, but number 1 for me. So I'm excited about this one. Played quarterback in high school, so looking forward to talking quarterback talk with our guy here. I'll let you do the honors.
Yeah, so the third quarterback we're going to be having in this series is a transfer from Houston Baptist, Bailey Zappe. Bailey, how's it going, man?
Doing good. Pleasure to be on this podcast.
Yeah, so as you can see on your screen, he transferred from Houston Baptist to Western Kentucky, and you'll be enrolling there in the fall, I'm assuming?
Actually, I'm enrolling this spring. I'm actually moving up there. Next Thursday is my move-in date.
Gotcha. Yeah, I talked to somebody that's going to Utah State, and he's packing up yesterday and today, and he's heading out tomorrow, I believe. So most of the people we've had on recently are all getting ready to transfer to new schools. But before we start talking about your college career, I want to ask you a little bit about your high school experience, your transition to college. I think Matthew's got a question about high school he's going to ask you as well. But I'll start off with kind of give us a little insight to your recruiting process. You know, what schools were looking at you? What did you consider when inevitably picking the school that you wanted to spend some time at? And just, you know, how were visits and things like that?
Yeah, so, my high school career, I started my sophomore year on varsity. So I started my sophomore, junior, and senior year on varsity. To be honest, going into my senior year football season, I had 0 offers. I finished playoffs and everything. We went 4 rounds deep. So around December, we ended season. I still had 0 offers. And actually, that January, I believe, is when I received my first offer from HBU. And Coach Sheely is the one who called me. And I really didn't have any big choices to make. HBU was my only offer. So it was a really easy choice. And choosing the one place that I had an offer from. So, the transition from, high school to, D1 FCS, it's a big time difference. The biggest thing for me was, just the speed of the game. Understanding defenses is at a different level. In high school, we really didn't pay attention to coverages and, defensive tendencies. So, in college, I had to do a lot more film study and a lot more, taking notes during meetings and everything. And, I love football. So, I love learning everything. And it was a pleasure, learning from that experience and that transition from high school to college.
Yeah, I think some of your answers there kind of plays exactly into what some of the stuff Matthew was going to ask you. So I'm sure I'll have you go a little bit deeper. Matt, if you want to go ahead and ask him one of yours.
Yeah, I'll start with, people always talk about, us, all 3 of us being from, the southern part of the country. Football, especially high school football, is a big thing. I know the high school football scene in Alabama is, incredible, but all you hear about is Texas. So is there any light you can shed on us, about what the high school football scene is like in Texas?
It's different. Like you said, it's just a different atmosphere, I guess you could say, on Friday nights. It doesn't matter the size of the city or town. If it's, 100,000 people in a town or 20,000 people in town on Friday night, everybody's going to be paying attention and watching that game on Friday night. And I think the biggest, thing that everybody hears about, is the stadiums, how big the stadiums are. You look at guys like, Allen High School who have, it looks like a college, like a university, stadium. It's huge. But I think the biggest thing for me is what I like most about, Texas high school football is like the rivalries. Some of these, high schools have been rivals for, many, many years. And, speaking from, my personal experience, I played at Victoria East, and across town we had our rival was Victoria West. And, I'm from a small town with about 60, 70,000 people. And I remember those nights. And I remember those Friday nights where we play the East and West game, and there'd be about 15,000 people at a game. And our stadium wasn't huge compared to some of the other schools around Texas, but it's just adds a different element, I guess you could say. And I personally, I've been a part of it, and I definitely believe that Texas high school football is one of the best.
Oh yeah, if not the best for sure.
Yeah, if not the best, but you still got Florida and Cali, and
Yeah.
those guys they got some dudes.
Yeah, if he thinks a small town is 60, 70,000 people, I'd love to hear what Dallas and Houston have.
Oh, Dallas and Houston they're in the millions.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, just to give you a little idea, I think we have, 10,000 people in our town, maybe, if that.
Yeah, it's right at 15.
Yeah, so just to compare right there.
Yeah.
But I guess we can get a little into your college stuff now. So you spent 3 years at Houston Baptist. What did you say the biggest thing is playing at the FCS level? Like, did you spend most of your time doing film study, or did you have a hard or easy transition when it comes to learning the playbook and things like that? Kind of take us into a kind of like a day in the life of you. How much time did you spend watching film or working out or studying the playbook or things like that?
Yeah, for sure. So, the normal schedule for us is usually we'd have weights and strength and conditioning in the mornings. Usually before we'd be done with all that around 10 or 11, and then if it was during season, we'd have meetings for about 2 or 3 hours, and then of course practice after that. But I think the biggest thing for me was, like you said, is just kind of having that self motivation. Do stuff on my own. We always have meetings. We have meetings for 2 hours, but most of the time we're not sitting down watching film. We're going over some plays and installing new plays. So a lot of it is on us players. To go back to our room and continue watching film. And I think this past year, which we only have 4 games, I think I set myself on a goal of 2 hours of film watching by myself a day. And I would try my hardest to get that 2 hours, whether it was split up in 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. And I think it really helped me this year, understanding defenses and being able to go into this, each game knowing exactly what the defense is going to be doing in certain situations, whether it's 1st and 10, 3rd and 1, or whatever the down distance is. I knew I had to have a great idea to do that. With the way our offense worked this year, Coach Kelly gave me a lot of leniency and gave me the ability, checking out of play. So being able to understand what the defense is in and get us offensive players in the right position and get us successful is what I had to do.
Yeah, I would definitely say, you talking about watching film for 2 hours, setting that as your goal, I'd say it paid off, especially, Gage and I were talking about some of your stats and before you got on. So I would definitely say the hard work's paid off looking at those. But one of my questions was, you kind of answered it when you were talking just then, but is there anything personal that drives you from day to day? Because, as a human being, I know being in a routine, can kind of get old or kind of get burnt out on it. Is there something that drives you personally, or is it just for the love of the game?
I think it's a little both. I've loved the game. I played it since I was 5 years old. I was 5 when I first put on helmet, shoulder pads, and started playing tackle football. So, I've always loved the game. And, growing up, all I've known is football. So, working with my dad, working with other people, my dad always told me is to continue to strive to be better every day. And that's what really pushes me is, I could be perfect. I go 100% on 7-on-7 during a practice one day, and the next day I'm trying to get better. If I, misplace the ball here, misplace the ball there, I'm trying to always, learn from the mistakes I make and, continue to correct those and, continue to work on my strengths, even though, I lost my train of thought right there. But, simple as that, just continue to get better every day. And that's really what drives me is just be better than I was the day before.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned, just trying to get better every day. Is there this could be growing up or even right now, is there a quarterback, college or professional, that you kind of try to mold your game after, that you looked up to for, in terms of seeing how they prepared for games or practice, or just trying to improve based on what they did?
Yeah, for sure. In middle school and high school, um, you know, growing up playing football, I really loved watching and I admired Peyton Manning. I mean, I loved watching him play. Hearing all the stories about the preparation that he did before each and every game, and how I heard a rumor that he would fill an entire notebook of just one team and all the notes that he took and everything. And I thought that was always something that I liked like to do, and I thought it was really cool. So high school, I still love Peyton Manning, but I knew I wasn't going to become 6'5". So I'm I was never going to become 6'5", so I always knew I wasn't going to be the next Peyton Manning. So I started looking at guys like like Drew Brees, who everybody talks about how short he is, but I mean he's still one of the top 5 greatest quarterbacks of all time. And taking some things from him and using it for myself. um I'm not as short as 6 foot. I'm 6'2", so I still was able to take some things from him. And you still look at guys like Patrick Mahomes, who is not the prototypical 6'5", 6'6" guy, but I mean is the best player in the NFL right now and can throw the ball a mile. So looking at guys like that, just taking bits and pieces from every guy, and trying to improve my game.
One thing too, I was going to ask you, you kind of touched on earlier talking about game speed and having like preparation of having to like understand defenses and understand defensive tendencies and stuff. Can you go a little more in depth about like the difference in the game speed for a college game and versus a high school game? I guess you could say like actual details or examples, like you notice like, well, these defenses are actually out here running plays instead of just coming out here and calling cover two. And like in high school, you play, I guess all the players are, of course, a lot better. So everybody gets their more so of an individual role, I guess you could say, especially on the defense. But can you touch on like how different it is in from versus like college and high school in terms of game speed?
Yeah, just like you said, when you play in high school, a lot of defenses are basic. They do the straight up man, cover one, cover two, and cover four is really about you always see, and what I only saw in high school. But going up in college, you play some of those defensive coordinators that they know what they're talking about. They get cover three and cover four lock, cover four, cover two man, cover one hole. I mean, there's all kind of different coverages
Yeah.
that you have to learn and understand. And that's why watching film is so important, because there's always that one player that kind of gives it away and gives you that okay, that's what they're in, and, kind of tells you what they're in. And I think that was kind of like the biggest thing, like I said before, is in high school, I really didn't read coverages. I always knew that sometimes they were man, sometimes they weren't. So I think that was the biggest thing, like you said, is just understanding that the game is different. You're not playing. In high school you have one or two guys that are really good players, but now when you step on the field at Division I level, all 11 of those guys are pretty darn good players.
Yeah.
And there's some defensive ends now that run 4.5, 4.6s, and you can't run away and run around like you did back in high school. So you have to play the game smart and be efficient in some of the things that you do. And I think that was the biggest thing I can look back on.
Yeah, it's hard to try to like see. I never played college football, so I don't I don't firsthand understand the game speed, but I know that it is a thing in terms of how different it is in high school to college, and it's kind of hard to explain to people. Like my mom, for example, watching games with her in the past, like why can't she? Why can't he do this? Why can't he do that? Well, I kind of got to break it down on how different things must be for a quarterback at the college level versus the high school level. So it's good to hear a little bit about that. Maybe that'll help some people understand if they're tuning in.
Yeah, no doubt. Like you said, I mean, in high school, some of the defensive players have, free reins to do what they want and run around. But, defensive players and, D1 level, they have their assignment, they have their job. And, that's what they do week in, week out, and they're really good at it. So, you just got to continue to be efficient, beat them at what they're best at.
Yeah, while we're talking coverages, I played receiver in college, and anytime we went up against somebody that it was man coverage, we were happy as could be because it was man coverage all game and we were ready to run. Is there a coverage in particular that maybe gives you nightmares at night, or just one that you hate throwing into?
Yes, especially with the offense that we're in right now, it's kind of the mixture of the air raid and the spread. We're not a full air raid team, so we play a lot of defenses that, rush 3 and drop 8. They do double cloud stuff like that where they drop 8 guys, and it's 4v8 basically. They got 8 defenders for our 4 receivers. So it's not necessarily, it doesn't give me nightmares, but it makes it a lot harder on me for sure. It's a bunch of tighter windows. I have to be a lot more accurate. I can't miss balls. I can't miss throws. Otherwise, it would either result in a incompletion or a pick six or just a turnover. And that's probably one of the hardest coverages, I guess you could say, that we face. It's very beatable. We've actually played it my junior year. We played it about 3 or 4 times, and defenses try to do that against us, and we threw about 300, 400 yards on them still. But it's a lot of nickel and diming them. You really can't take shots down the field. Like I said, they drop an 8, so you just got to dink and dunk and work yourself down the field.
I'm assuming Texas Tech did not drop 8 against you guys when you put up 570 yards this past season.
Nope, they didn't.
I've got one more question, but I'm going to see if Matt's got anything else before we kind of wrap it up.
Yeah. I was going to ask too. I kind of just forgot. I had it on the tip of my tongue. Gage, you go ahead and ask. I want to see if I can remember what it was. I feel like it was a good question to put.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, my last question for you is: you've played 3 years at the high school level, 3 years at the college level, and then playing in Texas. I can only imagine, as you touched on earlier, the stadiums. What was your favorite stadium that you've played in throughout your career?
The Alamo Dome, for sure. It's where UTSA plays. I'm sure y'all have heard of it. That was the only dome I've ever played in. I never anything else until, my junior year in college when we went to South Dakota. But, I love playing in the dome. I think I've only played there 3 times before college. And every game was it was just like a party. Everybody loved it. It was different. It was 70 degrees in there, no wind. You could chunk the ball all throughout the field. You didn't have to worry about the wind, like I said. And, playing in the Alamo Dome, I would think 2 or 3 times was probably some of the best memories I had in high school.
Would that compare at all to playing in the Fargo Dome? Is that where you played when you went to North Dakota, or did you play?
No, we played at South Dakota.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Actually, it probably would have been comparable, but at that moment in time when we played them, they had half of their stadium under construction. So the stands behind us had no fans. So we really didn't get the full experience of it all, but I'm sure if there was no construction, it would have definitely been a dope game.
Yeah, absolutely.
My question was, I guess it'd kind of be a good wrap-up question, but transferring to your new school now, is there anything, especially like tradition-wise, that they have, if you've learned about anything, or in terms of teams that they play, that you're most excited about, or are you just ready to get up there and keep playing football?
As for just traditions, I don't know yet. I'm sure when I get up there next week, they'll give me the rundown of everything. Playing in the Conference USA, I'm excited to play guys like Rice, North Texas, UTSA, Marshall, some of those, big time programs that, everybody knows about. I'm really excited to be a part of that program. They've been a great team for the past couple of years. I believe last year, before all the COVID hit, they went 9-4 and went to a bowl game, won their bowl game. It's a great team. I'm really excited to be a part of it and, be able to help them, continue their winning tradition and, win a conference championship this coming year.
Yeah, something that just popped into my mind is if y'all play UAB in Birmingham, I think me and Matthew will probably have to head out to that game. Yeah, I don't know. I know y'all are cross divisions, but if it works out to where y'all play each other this year, we'll head on down there and catch up with you.
Definitely. If y'all come, definitely hit me up. Hit y'all up after the game or something. Come see y'all before or after for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know we do shirts based off of we're Alabama fans, so I've got a TPA red and white shirt that says Roll Tide on the back, but we'll have to get you one for Western Kentucky themed, which I guess is still red and white, but a little
different
bit of
silhouette,
black
yeah.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. I'm down.
Well,
I
Matt,
don't know what y'all
anything
think
else,
about.
or- Go ahead,
What y'all
man.
think about Bama versus Ohio State? Y'all think I got it?
Nervous.
Yeah, I ain't confident in
Nervous?
anything there.
But I don't know.
I seen-
It'll be fun.
I seen Jalen Waddle's a game time decision.
Yeah, that'll be huge.
Yeah, if he plays, I mean that'll be. Yeah, he's guaranteed a touchdown. I mean that's the way comeback stories work, ain't it?
Yeah, that dude's a freak.
I think he'll win. If he plays the full game, I bet and say Alabama wins. I guarantee it. He'll be the MVP. I guess you could say. He'll be considered the MVP.
What do you think? Who you got?
I got Bama, no doubt. Devontae Smith is he's unreal.
Yeah, there's a lot of amazing talent on both sides, to say the least.
Hey, coming back to that fourth season, do something for you. Never
Yeah.
know.
That is true.
That is crazy. Think about it. They had Henry Ruggs, Judy, Devontae, and Jalen Waddle all in the same year. On the same team.
And then you got 3 Heisman Trophy finalists basically on that same team too. So
Yeah. And Najee's not no slouch either. I mean, he's the best running back in the league, or in the NCAA. I mean, it's
It's going to be
stupid.
fun. I think it's definitely going to be a close one now, and I think either team could win. To be honest, I don't think it's a clear-cut winner. To me, at least, I guess I get too nervous about the defense, Alabama's defense. Not so much worried about the offense.
the offense is going to put up 30 or 40 against anybody.
yeah, well that'll be a fun game to watch on Monday night. But anyway, we can wrap this thing up. Bailey, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Matt, we could get one together. Hopefully we can run into more people that can record at night rather than during the day. But nonetheless, appreciate everybody tuning in. If you're any Western Kentucky fan, meet your new quarterback, Bailey Zappe, transfer from Houston Baptist. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on episode 8.